In the comments, Mark says Rangers are now 11th in the league. What other manager from the big two would still be in a job in 11th? And John says Martin should still be sacked for our league position. I bring that up, Keith, because we were saying off air before we come on, Rangers could find themselves bottom of the Premiership when they next
Aberdeen play twice, Dan, before Rangers next kick a ball in the league away to Livingston on the Sunday, a week on Sunday. And if Aberdeen can win one of them and draw one of them now, I think they're away to Dundee United on the Tuesday night. Difficult, but they do have some talent. Aberdeen are they've got their own problems right now, and I think they're fairly fundamental issues as well that they need to resolve. But they do. There's no question. They recruited really well in the transfer window. They've got some talented players. It's not beyond them to go and get a win either at Tannadice or at Motherwell. One win would take them on to the same amount of points as Rangers. If they could get a win and a draw, they would leapfrog Rangers. So Rangers would go to Livingston in that case, bottom of the table, and that's astonishing. And I don't care. You can have all the gimmicks. You can have all, you can feel sorry for yourself. You can talk about having a chest infection and not feeling great and all that. Look, you're the manager of Rangers. If you're sitting in 12th position of the Premier League after how many games in would that be? 6, 7, whatever it is.
No.
That's completely unacceptable, and it's a sackable offence. Now, the question for Andrew Cavanagh, who obviously arrived ahead of the game at the weekend. Andrew Cavanagh likes being there for the big Europa League nights, so you would imagine that he came for the Hibs game and will stay for the Genk game. So he'll get the chance. He's got his boots on the ground. He'll get a feel for what's going on. And you think that Russell Martin's going to need a big performance and a big result against Genk, because if it goes badly, as bad, anywhere near as bad as it did, in the European and the Champions League qualifiers, then I don't know if he can survive it. And I also don't know if Andrew Cavanagh, with all goodwill, could go back to America. If he plans to go back at the tail end of this week, can he really go back there, having failed to address the issues, and just disappear back over the pond and hope it all dies down? I'm not sure that can happen either. So I think these next few days will be really important in terms of the decisions that are made over Russell Martin, over Patrick Stewart, and over Kevin Thelwell, who seems to have got off quite lightly, in my opinion, given the nature of the decisions that he's been making. And again, maybe there'll be some clarity provided if there was a decision made to remove Russell Martin. What was Patrick Stewart's role in identifying him and appointing him? I know he's chief exec, therefore the people will say the buck stops with him. But if he was nothing or very, very little to do with the whole recruitment process, and it was Thelwell and Greta Steinson that were heading that up, and that was a deliberate decision to delegate that decision to football people, then I think Rangers might be taking aim at the wrong man here, if that's the case. If that's the case. But then again, do you know what? Big black mark against Patrick Stewart. He appointed Thelwell.
Exactly. Aye, very good point.
And he did delegate, and he chose, that was who he chose to delegate to. And that doesn't look like a particularly well thought out plan either.